Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber, folks. I have breaking news for you because President Biden just said something very significant about the $1,400 stimulus checks, everyone. This is breaking news from Ignition Time. Welcome to the channel. Folks, it was just reported by Bloomberg, and it's all over the news that President Biden was on a call with Democrats this morning, and he said that caving on the $1,400 stimulus checks would break his promise. He said he wanted to keep his promise to the American people. Now, I'm sure that our viewers and subscribers who've been following the news, who've been following our channel, know that for the Republicans want to provide narrower, essentially smaller stimulus checks, $1,000 stimulus checks instead of $1,400 stimulus checks, and the Republicans want the stimulus checks to go out to a smaller number of people, reducing the cost of the plan. President Biden's plan, on the other hand, includes $1,400 stimulus checks, the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, to a large number of people. But the president is open to further targeting those stimulus checks. So, folks, what the president told other Democratic members on the call that was conducted this morning said that backing away from the $1,400 stimulus checks would mean starting his presidency with a broken promise. Now, folks, what is significant is that the president did say that he was open to narrowing the eligibility for the stimulus checks. In other words, individuals, the income threshold for getting the stimulus checks would go down, which means that certain individuals making above a certain amount of money would not get the stimulus check. So the president did say that he was open to considering tighter eligibility requirements for stimulus checks, but he was not willing to reduce the standard $1,400 that was outlined in his aid package. So, again, Republican lawmakers are pushing for something narrower and significantly smaller. Folks, another thing that the president said is he told the Democrats that he was concerned about spending too little as opposed to too much. And he said that he did not want to spend too little on a recovery package. And he said that he was addressing reservations from both sides that his proposal was too costly. He said that lawmakers should act quickly on his plan, which also includes billions of dollars in vaccine development and distribution, along with a wage hike to up to $15 an hour. Now, keep in mind that the conservative Democrat Joe Manchin is opposed to the $15 an hour, so it looks like that might not make its way into the final bill, but it does look like the process of budget reconciliation has started. Joe Manchin is supporting it, and indeed, things are moving along. And the president met with Democratic Senators Chris Coons and Tom Carper of Delaware, and he met with them at the White House. And here's a comment from Carter. Again, Tom Carper from Delaware. Carper said there's a difference between compromising on principle and compromising on policy. The president's not going to compromise on principle, which is helping people in need. Pretty strong comments there. Now, keep in mind that the president is expected to meet with many Democratic senators in the Oval Office today. And keep in mind that less than 48 hours ago, he conducted a 2-hour meeting that extended well into the night with many Republican senators. So it's very clear that the president is getting ready to get to work on the stimulus package. The group of Democratic senators that are going to meet with the president today include the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and top Democrats related to budget matters, including Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden and the Senate Budget Committee Chairman, everyone's best friend, Bernie Sanders. So this is a comment from Chuck Schumer today. He said, our caucus is eager to discuss next steps, and we are united in our resolve to deliver a rescue plan that delivers the American people the relief that they so desperately need. And so, folks, what's happening today at 11:30 a.m. East Coast time? In fact, that meeting will have ended by the time you watch this video. What's happening today at 11:30 a.m. East Coast time is that President Biden is meeting with all these Democrats that I just mentioned. As soon as word breaks about the meeting, I'll be sure to let you know. But I do want to tell you, giving you the highlights of the meeting that took place with the Republican senators. The president basically told them that their package was too small. And what's interesting is a lot of these Republican senators came out of the meeting saying, hey, it looked like the president was amenable to us. It looks like the president's listening, but he's being pulled in the opposite direction by members of the Democratic Party. So it seems like the president is sort of trying to walk a fine line between listening to the Republicans, listening to members of his own party, and strike the right balance and make sure he does what's best. And in his words, keep his promise to the American people. And folks, here's a comment that was reported by Heather Cagle from the Washington Post. And Heather Cagle said that she's quoting President Biden. And Heather Cagle said that President Biden said, "Let's stick together. I hope I have your back." He said, let me back up. Heather Cagle is from Politico, not the Washington Post. So Heather Cagle quoted President Biden, who said, "Let's stick together. I have your back, and I hope you'll have mine." That's what President Biden said. And he also said, "I'm not going to start by breaking a promise to the American people." President Biden, "I'm not going to start by breaking a promise to the American people." And so, folks, what is basically happening is that President Biden has committed essentially to the $1,400 stimulus checks. And here's another quote from President Biden, and this was reported by Erica Warner. And Erica Warner is a Washington Post congressional reporter. This is what President Biden said to House Democrats in the call this morning. I quote, I'm quoting President Biden: "We can't walk away from an additional $1,400 in direct checks because people need it. We can better target the number. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to start my administration by breaking a promise to the people." Pretty significant comments, everyone. I'll repeat, so it's quite significant. We can't walk away from an additional $1,400 in direct checks because people need it. We can better target the number. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to start my administration by breaking a promise to the American people. So pretty significant right there, folks. And speaking of significant, everyone, Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, said he actually spoke with President Biden. And he said that President Biden told him, "We can't do what we did in 2009 and negotiate for 9 months. We can't do what we did in 2009 and negotiate for 9 months only to have Republicans not vote for the package in the end." Folks, this also is fairly significant. And this right here is reporting from Mike Memoli, who's an NBC News correspondent. So I just want a brief history lesson here, flashback. Back in 2009, the Democrats wanted to do a significant stimulus package, but they pared it down because they wanted to get Republicans on board. They wanted to do something bipartisan. They didn't want to upset the Republicans. But guess what? We're in a climate where, let's just say, the threshold and the tolerance limit for being upset has gone through the roof. So now it's like, we're just going to do it. Doesn't matter. So that's the environment we live in right now. Folks, I hope you learned something new from this video. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I encourage you to please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thank you. Bye.